Yeah, my name is Eric Hackathorn, and I am totally pinch hitting tonight. I guess there was a cancellation. So hopefully the internet gods are working with us and everything goes as planned. I don't have an official presentation put together, so bear with me. But I work for NOAA, just down the street here, sort of a computer geek by trade, and my talk tonight will be about a virtual world platform known as Second Life. So, who here has heard of Second Life? Show of hands. Whoa. Oh, I'm so glad. This has got to be the first talk I've ever given at more than 10% now. Yeah, how many have been on for more than an hour? All right, that's more like what I expected. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Second Life, just a brief backgrounder. It was started by a company called Linden Labs that's based out of San Francisco in about 2003. And it's based out of, I hate to use the analogy, but the video game industry. Think the massively multiplayer setups like World of Warcraft, EverQuest. Probably the younger generation, this is ringing some bells. No offense to the older generation. But from that, this platform has been developed. That's essentially sort of a three-dimensional equivalent to a 2D website. So people can go in, they generate content. Any content that's generated, you retain the IP to, which is important for some companies. And it's generated an environment where you can really create the three-dimensional equivalent to the traditional 2D websites, which we see now. So NOAA, since April or so, has been developing a Second Life space. And it's taken the form of, I guess you could call it a environmental amusement park. And I'll hopefully give a demonstration of what we got. But it's got various features which may be best are shown, and considering I only have 5 minutes, I better get started.
How big is NOAA?
NOAA as a whole organization represents about 20,000 people.
And then in this particular group?
In this particular group here in Boulder, there's about 1,200 that are located over on the Broadway campus. At the moment, the Second Life development team consists of one, plus or minus a half person. We're very much just getting started with the whole developmental effort. The island is closed right now to the general public, but I'm giving some tours, and we're headed back to DC to show people and all that good stuff. So Second Life is a platform. It's a client program that you install on your computer. It's available for Linux, for Macintosh, for Windows. And everybody cross their fingers. Oh, that's a good sign. So we bought what's called a private island, which is essentially a private space. Think of it as a 3D equivalent to a website, which we maintain editorial control over. And I've got an IM. I should probably mark myself as busy. You never know what people are going to send you when you're on the big screen. Going to the museum thingy. So just like a traditional website, it's slowly loading, and resing is the buzz term. But typically people are dumped into a welcome plaza. In doing anything in the government, you have to get 3 bids. I don't know if any of you have done work with the government before, but them be the rules. And so the way that we did that was we did a design contest. Second Life is full of very talented people who are anxious to figure out how to make a living designing virtual content. And so from background information that I gathered just from kind of going around in world, we picked 3 development companies and gave them 2 weeks to kind of show us their vision of what Noah's Island should look like. We gave them a list, sort of an RFP of sample attractions which we wanted working prototypes of. Examples might be a weather balloon that you could ride up and learn about the ozone hole and the instruments that NOAA uses to gather data, or a sea life aquarium where you could click on various types of sea life and get taken to supporting web pages. Those attractions have been made at this point. So the winner was picked both from user input from the Second Life community, as well as an internal panel made up of scientists that judged the teams within NOAA. And just recently they finished development. So this over here, if I zoom in, is sort of a map. I'm standing in the Plaza right here, and you can see that we have various attractions, which I would kill for a mouse right now. There's a Hurricane Hunter, a P3 Orion, part of NOAA. What they do, these crazy guys hop in a plane and ride through hurricanes to learn about how they work and to research their being. So we've had a virtual recreation. You can fly through the hurricane, learn about how it's formed, all that good stuff. Weather balloon, which I mentioned before. We have a real-time weather map, which is pulling in data via XML from the outside world, from our database, the National Weather Service, and it's being recreated on top of a 2D weather map. We have a meeting hall, virtual conferences. You know, if we have a real-life meeting like this that's being videotaped, it could be streamed into our virtual conference center, and people could participate that normally wouldn't be able to visit. Tsunami demonstration, see how they're formed, watch the town get wiped out. Sea life aquarium and a glacier that melts over time, and you can see the sea level rise. So that's in a nutshell what we have. Obviously, I don't think I have much time for a tour. If there's one that strikes people's interest in particular, maybe we can visit one site.
Okay, fly over.
All right then. Oh, this is me, by the way. I neglected to mention that. But this is my virtual presence. It's called an avatar. And so, for those of you that aren't informed, everyone that comes into this environment essentially has an account created, and they become a citizen, and there's all sorts of customizations that you can do.
Gun, not lightsaber?
Yeah, my motto is educate or incinerate. That's, so we're headed off to the hurricane tour. And somebody included music. All right, I don't know what to tell you there. This is a very collaborative environment, and so, you know, there's been days where I've come in and there's little surprises waiting for me that people have left. For example, a radio station on our airport. And there's also concerns too. NOAA management is trying to figure out how to deal with nude sunbathers that come and visit our tsunami demonstration. So it brings up a concept. I mean, traditional media, a lot of people are probably familiar with Clue Train. Traditional media is one directional. You know, you have the NOAA website and NOAA management, which is dictating to the masses what information they as the public should hear. And all of a sudden, we have a two-way conversation here, the potential for such. And frankly, that scares the right out of some people. So we have an internal education, which is going on here as well. So I'm going to board the aircraft. And then if I can, click the sign. Incredibly awesome looking plane. Yeah, I should probably get rid of that. That music is driving me nuts. So in the corner here, which is somewhat rezzed, we've developed a HUD, a heads-up display. Part of what Second Life allows you to do is create attachments. In this case, it comes in the form of sort of a 2D slide and audio presenter, which will change data depending on your location from within our environment.
Give it 30 seconds.
Questions? We can kind of watch it on the screen as it goes, and we'll just go into my question time. Sorry for not having anything more solid prepared. Sure, back there.
How large is the total user universe on Second Life?
It's growing by 30% a month right now. When we started in April, it was 200,000, and they're just under 2 million now. So it's hyper exponential, and I have a feeling that that's the way it's going to continue. Our next step, we've taken an outreach and education standpoint to this amusement island that we've set up. The next project, if I get funding, is to blend Google Earth and the KML format and the data visualization capabilities there with those of Second Life. There's a SketchUp I don't know if you're familiar with Google SketchUp. It's a modeling program. You can export from Google SketchUp into Second Life. We'd like to create a Google Earth KML exporter, which would allow you to import into sort of a large-scale virtual recreation. The topography of our sim would be the equivalent of the topography of the Earth. And so we could stream in various data types that NOAA does, or anyone for that matter. We would open source anything that we make. Taxpayer dollars, after all. Anything that you see on the island here will also be open sourced.
Let's see, you can take one, because there's one other question back there.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's on this left.
Yeah, so you can put this up.
It'll come right up.
Okay,
It's all set.
To distribute all the data that NOAA currently has.
Say that one more time, I'm sorry.
Would you ever use this as sort of a vehicle? I mean, we use your LiDAR data, for instance. I mean, would you ever use this
I've
as
collected
sort
that
of
LiDAR
vehicle?
data.
Yes, correct. To go through sort of your libraries of data, in this sort of virtual world, could that ever be a part of it?
Yeah, I mean, grand scheme, say we get $1 million. I would love to create a store, a data store, where people can go in and shop for different types of data, and have a private space where they could collaborate and visualize what they're interested in. I mean, the collaboration and the visualization aspects of Second Life are great for scientific usage.
All right, thanks. That's great.